them and make them into a grade A ground chuck meat there for some Zergling hamburgers, ultra hamburgers. That's what they're going to be. They're going to be ground up meat. I'm really hungry right now, actually. But yeah, lurkers can do that against medic marines when lurkers, aren't being killed by tanks. They're just so good against medic marines. We forget this sometimes because we see so many pro gamers defeat lurkers with just medic marines. But it's only with a very large medic marine force, and it's not like when you're in a choke point like this, you really can't micro against them at all. Zergboy coming out with some Scourge, actually. It's scourging in the scouting in the base, not scourging, scouting in the base, maybe trying to intercept a science vessel as it comes out. And okay, so we're going to see some of these lurkers pounding away at the temples. Smart move here, but Iloveoov has spotted it with his SCVs. Those temples are going to go down in a matter of seconds, though. Lurkers are so good at killing these temples, because once they kill one temple, all the temples go down, of course, with the splash damage. And meanwhile, the expansion at the 12 o'clock is safely taken here. Iloveoov is going to have his back exposed here. We'll see what he does about it, whether he puts a couple of tanks in the back. And Zergboy is now going to be through. There he goes. Iloveoov planting some tanks below the ridge, interesting enough. With some vision, they're going to be able to scout up the ramp. And it looks like Zergboy is actually not going to commit for attack. He's just opening up that avenue of attack. And I love it when Zerg do this. I think it's such a smart move. I think it's a move that Zerg should do in any game against either a Terran or a Protoss. If they get lurkers, they should just open up the back of their opponent's base and leave them vulnerable. Zerg are just so much more efficient when they can do this. And Iloveoov is now forced to defend on two fronts. Meanwhile, we're probably going to see Hive Tech, yeah, there's Hive Tech, out for Zergboy. And Zergboy is probably going to have a Defiler's bound down pretty soon, so this game is not turning out the way it did last time. Zergboy playing a much more circumspect game this time, playing a lot more smartly than he was last game when that group of lurkers was just moved into Iloveoov's forces and slaughtered piecemeal. Iloveoov on the defensive, not really with much of an active force that can push out yet. And this time Zergling's coming in from behind here. Iloveoov's fine marines are not going to do it here. It looks like Zergboy is actually pulling back. He doesn't know that there's only fine marines back there. In fact, if you just ran through with the Zerglings, I think he'd be able to do a lot of disruption at the back of his base. Although Iloveoov does not have a base at the 6 o'clock location as mirror only, so not that much damage would be done. Excuse me. Iloveoov with the first science vessel out. And maybe some dropships or something would be able to even up this game, but Iloveoov really needs to move out fast. In his game against Zero in the commentary of the week that was done by Rise and Greth, his main problem was that he didn't move out in time until Zero had this gigantic force of Hydralisks and Mutalisks and Zerglings and just every kind of unit imaginable. In that game, of course, Iloveoov went for a metal build, a straight Goliath tank build, but it was just so clumsy and so slow that he just got out macroed so badly that there's no chance he could win. Even though he wasn't dead, he had all his forces alive, he was already gone. There was just no way you can win when you're pinned in like that. And Iloveoov is only slowly making ground here in the middle, but he has a very, very powerful force. We're going to need to see Defilers here, and good Defiler play from Zergboy, before I'm going to call Iloveoov out of this game at all, because he has such a powerful Terran force there, tanks surrounded by Medic Marines, and this Biomech combination is just so good at the late game. And look at how many lurkers are just there, but they're all clumped together. And if they unburl, they're going to be clumped together for tank fire. And it looks like they're going to go in this time without any Defiler support. Oh, there's a Defiler support, but not covering the lurkers. However, the lurkers have managed to get in among the tanks anyway. This time, Iloveoov was the one who's caught with his Medic Marines out of position. He's got Medic Marine in the front of the base now, and looks like, oh man, he's going to get pincered here from the front and the back, so it didn't matter that the Dark Storms didn't do anything. I think Iloveoov is going to lose this battle. Yeah, he is going to lose this battle. There's no way he's going to break in with that many lurkers coming in from behind. Zergboy's control was not perfect, but he got his lurkers where they needed to be, and Iloveoov unfortunately didn't have his Marines around his tanks. The lurkers did come from an unexpected direction, and that's what helped him win that battle. Iloveoov with a couple of stray tanks still remaining in the middle, but I think his push is pretty much dead, and I think this is going to be Zergboy's game unless Zergboy comes up with some horrible mistakes, which unfortunately he has in the past. He was not a stellar player with Reach. Oftentimes he would lose really easily, would not build enough units, not have good coordination, and really cost reach a couple of games I think they should have won. So we could be seeing some big chokes, but I think barring that, Iloveoov will lose this game. Despite the fact he's macroing pretty well from 2 bases, Zergboy's already at 5 bases. You know, that is a huge advantage, and it's going to be really hard for Iloveoov, especially because he's lost that army. I don't know what the upgrades are like. I assume at least +1 carapace done for the Zerg, and maybe +2 attack for Iloveoov, but it's not going to matter that much, because if he has decent, yeah, +2, +1, so +1, +2 rather, and +2 carapace, so actually we're even here on upgrades pretty much, and Iloveoov is not going to have advantage there. He has basically no advantage at this point, except Zergboy might decide to throw away his army. Zergboy needs to cast some swarms. Alright, there's some decent swarms. Finally, he's going to be able to leapfrog his lurkers through it. Not the best swarms I've ever seen, but at least they will be somewhat functional. Those defilers, if they were of, say, Zero or Calm or Jaedong or Savior back in his prime, there would be orange clouds over the entire force where they needed to be. But Zergboy, not exactly the best player. You can't really put him in the same sentence as those players. Now he's getting some swarms in. Still a little bit delayed for my taste, but, well, I mean, certainly better than I can do. But then again, any of these Korean players, while high and drunk on soju and playing with one hand, could cast swarms better than me, no matter what race they played, pretty much. But anyway, Zergboy getting a decent plague this time, actually. Good plague, losing his defiler, but that's going to be the end of that attack. There's no way those group of plague medic Koreans are going to be able to do anything. Iloveoov is still doing lots of damage. Zergboy, look at that. He's forced to consume a lurker there just to get this creeping cloud forward. He's going to take out some of these tanks, though, with that nice clump of lurkers, and just picking off forces piecemeal here. Alright, this force is going to go down, and despite the really C-class defiler control, I mean, honestly, I don't think Zergboy gets much of a chance to practice this defiler control. I mean, think about it. He plays 2v2, and he's consuming Scourge this time, and this defiler has had some very varied diet here. Iloveoov is going to build some speed vultures with mines here, just to try to slow down this late game army. But like I was saying, I don't think Zergboy gets much of a chance to build defilers. You know, I mean, just not in his practice retinue probably. And anyway, Zergboy continuing to push forward slowly with those orange clouds, those defiler dark swarms. Like I said, not exactly the best example of it, but it's a decent plague. Alright. Iloveoov is slowly getting pushed back to his base. Not much he can do at this point. He's desperately trying to basically put every trick on the table here, using some mines too. And finally, some irradiates. Actually, I'm surprised at how few irradiates have been cast this game. Defiler is going to run forward and die. And we're basically going to see Iloveoov contained in space. Zergboy is probably going to expend more units than he has to getting out, but it's not going to matter because he is going to inevitably win this game, I think. Iloveoov is just too hurt in resources. There come the Ultralisks. So those are going to be one of the great equalizers here. It's hard to micro that many Ultras incorrectly. Although they could eat a lot of mines, I guess. That would be one way you could do it. And Iloveoov actually smartly saving his irradiates for Ultras. That is something that you definitely want to irradiate. And we could be seeing a flank attack here from Zergboy. Zergboy pushing forward with his Zerglings. And, oh, that's a lot of irradiated Ultras, though. They are +5 carapace, though. They're just going to be so strong. +1 attack for the melee units. Zergboy expanding again. And Iloveoov is still pinned in his base. Not much to say here. Really, I mean, Iloveoov should probably just throw his units away right now and prepare for the last game. There's not much chance he has of actually winning, even though he has a very large army. Just the macro is just so suffering on this player. Now, Iloveoov, of course, is he's got such a deep level of understanding of this game with so much experience that, I mean, he has so much game sense. WW coming from Iloveoov, that does have the sound of GG in Korean, but it means the same thing. Hope you guys enjoyed this second series, second set in this series, and I will be coming at you with the third game and the final game coming up soon.